Hey everyone, this is your weekly episode of the Zephyr podcast, episode number 11, I think. My name is Benjamin. I am your host.
I'm Fabio, your other host, and we have a release. How are you doing, Benjamin?
Good, good. Yeah, it's
Busy?
Friday as we're recording this, and the release is already out. I think that's the first. I'm still, yeah, like you said, busy. Still working through what I hope will be a good and a cool video, walking through some of the highlights and noteworthy changes and additions in the release. Well, I think we started the podcast like midway, right? A few months after the previous release went out. So maybe some of you listening will already know about some of those things. But yeah, it's quite nice from USB device next becoming the new default stack to OCPP support and the instrumentation subsystem, twister display harness. Like I said, you've heard us mention this, I think. But if you haven't, check out the release notes, the blog post that maybe, hopefully, will be out by the time we air and by the time the podcast goes live. But yeah, it was fun, and we will be. I mean, it might be even more busyness in the future because in case you didn't realize or missed the memo, we moved or we are moving to a bi-yearly release cadence. So basically aligned with Ubuntu, April and October will be the time when we do releases in the future. So Zephyr 4.4 is scheduled for April of next year.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how I will manage to cope with the extra traffic. For context, we opened the merge window just a few hours ago, and all of the backlog came. The floodgate opened. I'm counting at three. Well, Git is counting 332 commit already merged.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, I don't know how much publicity I want to make for that because I think a bunch of us probably want to claim that and get that achievement. But we are really probably days away from GitHub issue or PR number 100,000.
Yes.
That and so like that's literally I didn't. I'm sure some people created scripts etc. to have like the projections, but yeah, we are at
Yeah.
99,400 something off the top of my head, so it's gonna come up really fast and even
Yeah. I'm not
faster if people try to rig the system.
Yeah, I'm not sure you want to invite people sniping the pull request. Yeah, GitHub is already has a bit of a mind on its own. Its own.
Yes, API rate limiting and whatnot. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
this is great.
What are we going to talk about this week?
I don't know. There's been a bunch of cool news as always. Some of them very much Zephyr related. Some of them maybe slightly less. I think there's something that popped up probably on Discord. Tiny 386. Like there's a bunch of emulators out there for like old-ish, I guess, architectures, but that happen to run like that can run in the browser and stuff. So did you have a look at this one? I think that it's a GitHub project that's been there for probably a few years. Looks cool.
I did, yeah. Yeah, it looks like this one made the news somehow. I had it showing up on my feed a few times as well. Very interesting project. Yeah, funny. I opened it up while I was working on something for the keyboard protocol called the AT42. It's an implementation of the legacy keyboard controller, and this one has an implementation as well. So I was like, oh, geez, no, please. It's a fun project. So apparently, you can run Windows 95 on an ESP32 because why not? What are you
Yeah.
gonna do about it?
Well, one thing that I've had at the back of my head for quite a bit is, yeah, there's this emulator. I think there's a few others. They happen to be pretty feature complete. They work like really well in the browser. Could we get basically a board definition of whatever is the PC effectively that those emulators emulate, and get Zephyr running on it, as in things like I don't know the documentation, running some basic or maybe not so basic samples right from the browser, I think would be really nice. Like having people get a feel of how the shell works and stuff like that. So I don't know, like is Zephyr even able to run on an Intel 386? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Right, in the current form is 386 supported? Because I think Linux dropped. It definitely dropped the 286 and 486 not long ago, I think. But I don't, I don't know. It would be
It
interesting to know
feels
this.
like a great weekend project. If anyone knows, or if this is even a good idea, this specifically this 386 emulator, because there are others that are, I guess, are more modern. But if this one is a good target, please chime in the comments. Join us on Discord if you haven't already. Chat.zephyrproject.org. Join the Discord channel there. I think based on where you're listening, if it's on YouTube, Spotify, or anywhere else, you can probably comment there too. But yeah, I would love. I think it's worth giving it a try.
Yep. So what's next?
Cool. Yeah, cool gadgets, cool projects. There was an article as well about someone running Minecraft on a light bulb. So yeah, sure, whatever, random weekend projects. It made the rounds on like some like dedicated press and YouTube and etc. So yeah, sure, it's fun. But what caught my attention is that effectively this light bulb is I didn't actually find it on AliExpress, but supposedly it's like one of those cheap light bulbs. So probably like I don't know a few dollars, a few bucks, and it's the SoC is a Buffalo Lab 602, which kind of rang a bell to me because I'm like, hey, that's something where we added support for in Zephyr not so long ago. So maybe we have light bulbs out there, like cheap light bulbs, for which it would be fun to sort of like hack them and have them run Zephyr. And one thing that also I found also interesting, but again, I don't know the price tag for a fact, and it might actually be more expensive than what I am imagining. But the for a light bulb, it seems pretty beefy. The SoC they have in there, so it's a RISC-V, by the way, if you were not familiar, and it's like 200 megahertz and like 300K of RAM, which is I don't know for a light bulb sounds like a lot.
Sounds like a lot. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Is
It's
do,
probably
do
like matter. I don't know what's the
the is this a Wi-Fi one or
It might be. I don't know. But if it's
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it probably has some kind of connectivity in it.
I would yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, I would imagine if they're running this specified that they're running the Minecraft server on this, not the client. But I would imagine if they went to do this, it probably has Wi-Fi. Yeah, then you kind of need the resources for the stack, right? It's a bit of a shame that IoT is converging to Wi-Fi in many applications, which means you're going to need a lot more resources than you would otherwise if this was going on BLE mesh or 802.15.4, something like that.
yeah. I don't know. As in, I really don't know. But I also see a bunch of like presentations at conferences and so on, where the like the Wi-Fi Alliance and like the Wi-Fi folks, they seem to have solutions for reasonably low power. I don't know about the resources it requires in terms of like the processing power and so on, and like the memory, but in terms of pure energy, like is this Halo Wi-Fi Halo or that kind of I don't know. It's
Yeah, would have to look it up. But the problem is that there is a massive deployment of existing access point, right? 802.15, sorry, 802.3, I can't remember. Yeah,
15,
Wi-Fi
11,
5, 6,
11 or something.
7. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to be compatible with those, right? Like if you were to come up with a new standard for IoT Wi-Fi, then the adoption would have to be delayed waiting for the new standard to catch on
Yes.
the access point first.
But yeah,
802.11.
possibly another like cool weekend project to like please someone get this light bulb and submit a board definition for it in Zephyr, just like we had the reverse engineered keyboard the other day. I think that would be I would love to see that.
That's right.
More on the actuator front, like last week we discussed there was
We
this
introduced it.
yeah
Yeah.
briefly, and so is there has there been some interesting
Yeah.
activity?
Yeah, this has been presented at the architecture meeting. There was a lot of bike shedding about what is an actuator. Should this be a subsystem or a driver? Like what devices could go there? Yeah, it's interesting. Join the conversation, I guess. Again, architecture working group open to everybody. It seems like the concept was accepted. Most of the discussion was where should this live and how it should be named. Well, some of the question were what is going to arrive here next, because right now the only implementation is for PWM based servo motors. I was thinking about it, and it would be cool to see something like PID controller for generic servos using the other subsystems, things like that. So we'll see. It looks like it is going to happen. It's probably just get marked as experimental, and maybe the compromise is that things may change as new drivers are developed. Uh, but otherwise, no, it's moving. It's interesting. We'll see what's going to happen.
Nice. Cool.
Uh, There's another issue I wanted to discuss here because this came up during issue triage, and yeah, I do know something about this one. It looks like our build system does not quite work. Well, the issue is specifically French accent unsupported in file path. Did it ever happen to you?
I well, no. Well, I guess so. Yeah, there's this issue. Well, the issue says French accent and supported in file path, but I think
It's
just
very
in
specific.
general, and I think that's something I commented in the issue. I think that our build system actually complains in a reasonably clear way when a path contains spaces and or unsupported characters. It warns you, and it's like, hey, you're probably getting yourself in trouble with those file paths. So we could probably improve the way that the error messages are reported, but I think we are reasonably clear about the fact that, yeah, don't do that. Don't have
Yeah,
like keep your
spacing.
as I guess a lot of people in the who do programming, they
Yeah,
try to be careful, like keep your path short as well, because I mean that might help those folks on Windows. Don't
yeah,
use spaces, don't use funky characters. But we could
yeah. It
probably,
may
I don't know,
be.
like it also feels like in this day and age, we could probably make it work for any. I mean, we are in 2025, right? And like, uh,
Yeah, yeah, I'm surprised it broke. I'm very broke in the way it broke because yeah, you would expect stuff like this to just work at this point, but I guess it did. And yeah, we could fix it, but somebody once for me, it seems like a lot of work for not a lot of benefit. So yeah, no, maybe we shouldn't do it.
yeah,
But
but yeah, but whoever that person was that
they
submitted the bug,
clearly
they might have a
care.
point that
Yeah.
we should set expectations more clearly. Like if it doesn't work, then like put it in bold in the getting started and wherever, so that people are careful.
Yeah, the situation I'm thinking of is if you have an accent or some extended character in your username and that ends up in your home directory, and then that is a bit annoying. 'Cause I mean, you can't work in your home directory. Maybe you're doing this on your corporate computer.
Yeah, I'm actually
It's
wondering,
bad.
like on OSs like Windows, I'm pretty sure it escapes. Like you couldn't get a special character in your home directory, or maybe I don't know. But yeah, it's yeah, stay away from those for the time being. I guess that
Yeah,
helps.
yeah.
But
Don't hold your breath for this to be fixed.
yes.
Yeah.
More. I mean, not more, but Arduino is at it again. This one I didn't see coming, but just as a side note, there is a new Arduino. What does so it's called the Arduino Neso
Uh,
N1. What does
I
Neso mean?
I knew you were gonna ask me. I don't know. I have no
Oh,
idea.
okay,
I've
and
heard that
because you know what
it might be the
Arduino
name of
Uno
a
means,
city.
right?
I mean, Uno means one, obviously.
All right.
I guess
Yeah.
not
Okay. I thought.
obviously,
Okay.
but I
But
think
this
it's the
one.
name of a city somewhere. But yeah, I
Ah,
should have
possibly.
researched it.
Yeah, so this one is so that's basically something they built with M5 stack. It has a form factor that seems to be reasonably close to some of the M5 stick, I think that's called. And yeah, I mean, one of the reasons I guess we are mentioning it is that I was surprised, or I was hoping that this would be contributed upstream, like from day one. Apparently, this one hasn't already, but I'm sure this will be coming. This is ESP32. This must be a first for Arduino, as in Arduino, sort of like first party boards.
Yeah, they had boards with ESP32 as a Wi-Fi coprocessor, but this is primarily around one of the ESP32. But yes, I guess so. So this is a C6 specifically. So 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi only. I start to pay attention to this stuff since I got burned by it with the demo.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, so
yes.
yeah, ESP32 load of flash LoRa Grove connector. It has a small display, integrated battery, and I like how they did the antenna on that thing. It's like there's a little antenna that it's sitting in the chassis of the thing, and then you can pull it out and swing it out. It's cool. I think good industrial design. Uh, Listen, I've heard M5 stack mentioned a bunch of times, but I actually don't know what it means. I mean, what's special
Uh,
about it?
right. So they are effectively, and I don't want to say something wrong, but I'm pretty confident that they are now, at least for the past year or 18 months or so, they are effectively an Espressif subsidiary. They used to
Oh,
be some kind of incubator or some kind of um, um, spin-off or whatever of Espressif, where they would create lots of devices targeted, I guess, mainly towards makers, things with like just like Seed Studio does to some extent, or Adafruit, etc. But sort of by
but
design and by definition, many of them, if not all of them, being expressive based. And
Is it
yeah, they're
is it just a brand or is it a form factor? Like, is there some
oh, right.
interoperability?
So it's kind of both. M5 Stack is the brand, and historically they've had. I think initially the first one is the M5 Stack Core. So that would be the form factor. Core would be like a square. I don't know, like 5 by 5 centimeters, a square thing. That would be yeah, this kind of form factor. For those of you watching the shorts on YouTube, you'll get to see what that is. I happen to have one on my desk, and then they have the M5 Stack Stick, which I guess the new Arduino is kind of in that form factor. And so yeah, you have the ability to stack shields, just like Arduino would have shields. They have shields that have that fit into the different form factors, the compatibility with the Groove connectors, and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's a cool. You cannot beat the price tag of those devices. Like, it's really, really, really cool stuff.
Good. One more format. One more. Yeah. One more standard.
That too, yes.
Uh,
Yeah, what
Beckon
else? There was
compilers.
something, I guess I will let you talk to this one. That was interesting to see following our chat last week about C11,
Yeah.
C17. Some news related to that on the Linux kernel front. It looks like they might be okay, or might be allowing from now on some historically like Microsoft only extension to C. So what's that?
Yeah, I love the wording. Every Linux news that causes some drama is worded very well. The Linux kernel looks to bite the bullet in enabling Microsoft C extensions. Yeah, so I try to see what Linux thinks about it, and the best I could find is Linux does not seem to be against it. I guess if it was against it, we would hear about it. And this landed in one of the development branch, kbuild dash next, which best I can tell is a development branch specific for the build system changes. It's not too clear to me what this does. So yeah, this is enabling few Microsoft specific extensions that are supported by both GCC and LLVM, which is what Linux uses, obviously. What this means specifically, I'm not much of a compiler person, but yeah, this allows including tagged struct or union anonymously in another struct and union. So something related to nested struct and unions. I know that there are some limitation in how you can nest anonymous stuff, right? So I guess this removes a blocker, and Supposedly this is to make some code look a bit better. It's interesting that it's a Microsoft extension and that it has MS in the name. I doubt that we are gonna see this because we need to support more than Zephyr to support more than GCC and LLVM, but who knows?
But probably same for Linux though. Like I'm sure they
I mean,
have or
Linux, I think it's only GCC and LLVM for Linux. I
okay.
mean, if somebody, I mean, knowing how thing works in Linux, I would imagine that if somebody wants to support anything either than GCC or LLVM, the project stance would be it's your problem.
Yes, yeah, it would be a downstream issue. Yeah, but yeah, no, it's interesting. Like they're like, okay, this is in GCC, this is in LLVM. It might be sort of proprietary, but if effectively de facto this is available, then just let's just bite the bullet, like the article says. Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna go in. Like if this stuff lands in one of the next branches and it gets merged in one of the there's like some major merge that branch, I would imagine it's gonna happen. So yeah, something to keep an eye on. Yeah, as we mentioned, some of these fancy compiler thing they hit Linux before they hit us. So yeah,
cool. So yeah, we've had only, and probably you more than I did, we've had only a few hours to look at what went in since we opened the gates for the new release, and now that the merge window is open. But we've spotted a few interesting news or like new contributions on the hardware front, I guess, like a couple new interesting
yeah,
boards and drivers. I think it's always nice to spend a few minutes going through those. Don't want to make it like
at
data sheet
least
reading exercise, but it's interesting nevertheless. There was one board that looks really beefy from Infineon. What is that? The body high
the
T2G.
T2G body high. I had to look this up because I couldn't figure what they meant. They're talking it's Infineon, so they're talking about automotive and body in this case refer to the car body, I suppose, so body ECU. Yeah, interesting system. So it's one of the again, it's one of those boards. This seems to be more common that you look at a picture and they have an M.2 connector. So you're thinking, what's going on? And it's for one of the Wi-Fi modules from Infineon, the iRock one. Gigabit Ethernet, FTCAN, pretty substantial price tag. But yeah, this is one of the powerful one. Cortex M7 plus Cortex M0, 8 mega flash. We're seeing more and more of this high-end board. Uh, so it's cool to see that the code base is able to scale, right? Because on one end we still have the Cortex M0, like tiny thing, bit of flash, bit of RAM, and on the other end we have these which have a lot of power. And one thing I see more and more often on these is external flash and external RAM, so you can have like tens or hundred of megabits if not more, of yeah storage capacity, and it's cool. Yeah, they say Hyperbus in this one. I think it's a brand for their specific implementation. This is Octo SPI.
Which
What
do
what
we
is,
go? Well, I think we
what
have
is
MSPI as in multi SPI, but yeah, I don't know
what
beyond quad SPI. How what's the story for us there?
what is going on with SPI? I have no idea. So we used to have SPI, right? Like one data line, and then we had code SPI. So they call the pin of the chip and use them four in parallel, so it goes faster. And now we have Octo SPI. I have to tell you, I've seen some STM32 board with a hexadeca SPI.
That's interesting.
It's like it's pretty obvious where this is going, right? For like this is gonna be somebody's gonna put a Certus on the chip, and this is gonna have a high speed differential signal, and then we're just gonna put an NVMe on the damn thing.
Yeah. Um,
Cool,
so
cool
our
product.
yeah definitely. I guess another one is our friend Jonas is at
Yep.
it again with some new boards, new shields from Adafruit.
Yeah.
There's an Adafruit.
Jonas, you missed the release. This one slipped.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, well, I guess it was submitted 3 weeks ago. This is another foot shield for a microchip DAC, the MCP 4728. I think it's quite
Yeah,
nice. We don't have that necessarily that many like DAC shields. You might have even been the first one. So it's cool. 12-bit quad DAC
yeah,
I2C converter. So yeah.
yeah. Not much more to say about it, but yeah,
Yep.
cool. More pluggable SQRC boards. Let's go.
Yes. Chargers BQ2518. What's that?
Lovely. I wrote the driver that this ended up modifying. This was the BQ25180. This is a tiny single cell lithium charger. It's a 1.6 by 1.1 millimeter. It's a 8 pin BGA CSP, I guess. Yeah, this has been extended to support a whole family of new variant of these from TI. The new one is the BQ25188. I wanted to mention it because yeah, 1 amp 3 amp power path, so you don't need extra circuitry to power your device if you don't have a battery. Or the battery is charging 18-volt input for a single cell charger. Not sure what the deal is, but I think this is for devices that may have power delivery switching the input to like 12-volt, maybe. Yeah, I was like, good chip. This is standard charger I use on my board, so I was interested. I think I'll try to use this one
Yeah,
someday.
that's nice. Yeah, and then a few other. There's support for a new camera sensor, like a cheap. I think it's a cheap one, right? The HMO360, the HiMax camera sensor, new touchscreen controller, a Focal Tech 6145. I mean, this is again, we don't necessarily want to walk through
Yeah,
all of those in details, but you'll have the links if this is something that interests you. I think I would also want to figure out a better way to keep maybe updating like the release notes, I guess, for 4.4, make it more visible as we go, what gets in, what gets merged in, because otherwise it gets only updated just only a few days ahead of the release. We can maybe automate that better, like make it easier for people to see, hey, what's new since last time I checked, sort of thing. What's new
yeah.
also is
Also
the
because it will be less work for you.
yeah,
It would
well,
be
I
nice.
don't mind it, but it really feels like it could be automated somehow. And this is useful metadata, like knowing that whatever driver got added on June 3rd of 2024, that's useful info. Like yeah. So let's see.
Really,
Sci-fly, Seafly,
sleep,
Seafly, Soufla.
sleep
The
supply.
SF, the reasonably new SoC support for the Sci-fly SoCs. I think that's the Pebble guys that have been kicking that effort, right? And so now it supports RTC, I2C. Starts to look like a complete support,
De-
basically, for the
development on this is moving fast. It looks like every week there's like 2 or 3 devices supported, so it's great to see. I wanted to mention it because I actually looked it up at this point since it seems like a fairly complete SoC as you mentioned it, and seems like you can buy a module with it. It's available on LCSC, which is the supplier for JLC, if I understand correctly. Never used it. So I don't know if you need a chip module for a Blue BLE device. This may be a good one. It's getting more and more Zephyr support.
yeah, nice Bluetooth 5.3. It says on the datasheet. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talking about more things that you can buy that I didn't realize. We mentioned a couple of weeks ago the one of the Renesas R7 Cortex M85. I never heard of an M85 before, so I was like, "What is this?" So I had a bit of a look, and this is the only M85 that we support. But also, if you look on the Wikipedia page for Cortex M, this is also the one mentioned there. So I guess it's very new. And one of the things I was saying is that it's a BGA, not great. But actually, I looked it up, and they do have some non-BGA version on Mouser. They only have one part number. This is the R7 FA8M1, whatever. I think marketing here could do some work, but yeah, it's a thing. If you want a 350 something megahertz Cortex M85 and on a board that you hand solder, it's a little interesting chip.
Nice, cool. So yeah, I guess that's more or less what we had for this week. As always, maybe a bunch of like PA public announcements. We have a Zephyr Tech Talk coming up next week with the Arduino folks. Arduino on Zephyr, Zephyr on Arduino. What does that mean? What did Arduino do with Zephyr? How can you do Zephyr on top of Arduino devices? It should be pretty nice. So that will be on Thursday, the 20th. So tune in or catch up the recording on YouTube because you're subscribed to YouTube, right? Upcoming events, yeah, the meetups as always. Check out the Zephyr website for a meetup near you. And yeah, last but not least, please do subscribe. Like we do love to get in touch with you all, and make sure that you join the Discord as well, chat.zephyrproject.org. You might want to join it for any Zephyr related questions, or you just heard about the Zephyr podcast and you want to comment on this 386 emulator because you've been hacking on it yourself and stuff like that. So yeah, looking forward to being in touch with you all there. And with that, we will be back next week, I guess. Bye, Fabio.
Bye.